Good morning everyone, my name is Eliza Jane Cabrera and for today's video, I will be talking about the 5 pillars of the criminal justice system. But first, what is criminal justice system? Criminal justice system is a series of government agencies and institutions. It refers to the laws, regulations, institutions, and legislations that govern the country, and it aims to prevent future crimes by enacting criminal sanctions and rehabilitating criminals through confinement. Criminal justice system composed of 5 pillars which are law enforcement, prosecution, court, correction, and community. These 5 pillars represent as a tool to maintain peace and order, prevent and control, and to give justice to every person. Let's proceed to the first pillar, which is law enforcement. Law enforcement is a system by which some members of the society act in an organized manner to enforce the law by discovering, deterring, rehabilitating, or punishing people who violate the rules and norms governing that society. Law enforcement is the prime mover. It serves as the front line of the encounter with the criminals or those who threatens the social order. They carry the symbols of the law. The uniform and badges they carry symbolize the authority to take action in the name of the state. The weapons they carry represent the power and coercive nature of their authority to reinforce their command. The handcuffs issued to them symbolize the detention power of the state. Goal of law enforcement: prevention of crime and disorder, preservation of peace, protection of life and property, individual freedom, and give public services. A large number of government agencies are involved in law enforcement, which are PNP, NBI, NAPOLCOM, and DILG, enforcing statutes and regulation pertaining to particular government activities. The second pillar is the prosecution. Prosecution is an agency of the government which charge with the indictment of a person alleged to have violated the penal laws. When a suspect has been apprehended, the law enforcement officers present and file the complaint or information to the case against the said accused to the prosecutor's office. The prosecution has the bound duty to prove the culpability of the accused. He must prove that the guilt of the accused beyond reasonable doubt. The accused may not even present evidence to prove his innocence because of his constitutional right to be presumed innocent until contrary is proved beyond reasonable doubt. Preliminary investigation is done under prosecution. Preliminary investigation is an inquiry or proceeding to determine whether there is sufficient ground to engender a well-founded belief that a crime has been committed and the respondent is probably guilty, therefore, and should be held for trial. Officers authorized to conduct preliminary investigation. The following may conduct preliminary investigations: provincial or city prosecutors and their assistants, judges of the municipal trial courts and municipal circuit trial courts, national and regional state prosecutors, and other officers as may be authorized by law. The third pillar is the court. The court is the cornerstone of the system wherein it determines whether the person charged with a criminal offense is guilty or not. The court also stands as the final arbiter for criminal cases and other violations of law. The court is the one responsible for giving a judgment or sentence proportionate to the unlawful activities conducted by the accused. The regular trial courts are Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, Regional Trial Courts, Metropolitan Trial Courts, Municipal Trial Courts, and Municipal Circuit Trial Courts. The first regular court is the Supreme Court. It is the highest court in the Philippines. It is the final arbiter, composed of 1 justice and 4 associate justices. The second is the Court of Appeals. It is vested with jurisdiction over appeals from the decisions of the RTC and certain quasi-judicial agencies, boards, or commission. The third is the regional trial courts. Jurisdiction of cases whose punishment more than 6 years. The last is the municipal trial courts. Jurisdiction of cases whose punishment is not more than 6 years. The special courts are Court of Tax Appeals, Sandigan Bayan, and Sharia courts. The first special courts is the Court of Tax Appeals, address the adjudication of appeals involving Internal Revenue Tax and custom cases. Next is the Sandigan Bayan, have jurisdiction over criminal and civil cases involving graft and corrupt practices and such other offenses committed by public officers and employees. The last is the Sharia courts, shall exercise appellate and supervisory jurisdiction in civil proceedings involving questions of Islamic law. Jurisdiction refers to the power of authority given by the law to a court or tribunal to hear and determine certain controversies. Venue refers to a particular country or geographical area in which a court with jurisdiction may hear or determine a case. Function of the court: due process, crime control, rehabilitation, and bureaucratic. Arraignment is a court proceeding at which a criminal defendant is formally advised of the charges against him and asked to enter a plea to the charges. Plea to a claim made by someone in a criminal case under common law using the adversarial system. The fourth pillar is the correction. Corrections refers to the treatment of offenders through a system of penal incarceration, rehabilitation, parole, and probation, or the administrative system by which these are effectuated. It is regulatory agency in charge of overseeing and managing all prisons and penal colonies around the country, as well as ensuring the safety of all convicts. Bureau of Jail Management and Penology is mandated to direct, supervise, and control the administration and operation of all district, city, and municipal jails nationwide with pronged task of safekeeping and development of inmates. There are 4 classes of prisoner: insular or national prisoner, provincial prisoner, city prisoner, and municipal prisoner. Insular or national prisoner is one who is sentenced to a prison term of 3 years and 1 day to death. Provincial prisoner is one who sentenced to a prison term of 6 months and 1 day to 3 years. City prisoner is one who sentenced to a prison term of 1 day to 3 years. And the last is the municipal prisoner, is one who sentenced to a prison term of 1 day to 6 months. There are 3 types of detainees. First is those undergoing investigation, the second is those awaiting or undergoing trial, and the last is those awaiting final judgment. And the 5th pillar is the community. Community has an unparalleled role as the 5th pillar in the criminal justice system. In this connection, community is understood to mean as elements that are mobilized and energized to help the authorities in effectively addressing the law and order concern of the citizenry. Community's role in crime prevention. They could surely dissuade individuals living in the community violate criminal laws. Community's role in an ex-convict should readily accept prisoners who have served their sentence or released by reasons of probation, parole, and pardon for their full reformation. There are kinds of families: nuclear family, extended family, and single family parent. And that's all. I hope you have learned something in my discussion about the 5 pillars of the criminal justice system. Thank you.